So this is Alex Hart with Lie to Me. And so what I'm doing here is I'm going to play some music and give it a listen. We're going to listen to it together. I'm going to give a little bit of a review. The idea here is to give independent musicians a chance to be heard. So if you want to hang out and find some really cool new music, I suggest you settle in and say hey. We're going to be listening to some really good music, and I'm going to give just a couple of pieces of feedback for each song that I listen to. Things that are good and things that can be worked on just so we can collectively get better. What's up, Stumps? Welcome. Alright, so this song is legit, just makes me want to move. What do y'all think about it? This is our buddy I Am Alex Hart that's in the chat. Everybody say hey. Graves Avenue, I just started, so hang around and we will get to it. So I like this track, very, very poppy, but still kind of the new age pop. Instruments seem to be mixed very well. I like the vocals. We got some little snaps going in there just to keep the dynamics going. I'm going to turn it up so I can hear a little bit better. Little halftime just to throw us off a little bit. It is good to see everybody today. Hope everybody's doing well. My name's Devin. I'm here to listen to music and give a review on it. I am a mediocre independent musician and producer. Oh yeah, really cool ending to that too. So that was Alex Hart with Lie to Me. Alex, that was a really great song, man. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. If y'all like what you just heard, it is I Am Alex Hart who is here with us today. Yeah, I think I kind of hit on the things throughout the song. Really cool, like new age pop feel to it. Well produced. Everything sounds really good. Mixed in there really well. I don't really have anything to criticize, so I do apologize for that. You're very welcome, Alex. I appreciate you coming in here and saying hey. So go wait on your tables and tell them that they need to respect you and tip you well because you're going to be famous one day. They just don't know. They just don't know. The idea here, for those that don't know, is I started something called Devin Song Reviews, where I asked independent musicians to submit music and that I would listen to it. And I was making videos with a review, a little short 45-second review of the song. And I got so many submissions, it got very overwhelming. And so I thought, hey, I can do these lives and we can tackle, 20, 25 of them in one sitting and still accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. But this is Divine Offline. This is our buddy Papa Wldlfe here with us right now. So let's give it a listen. It's a 5-minute and 39-second song, so we probably won't listen to the whole thing, but let's give it a go. I'm sorry you need a boyfriend. Does anybody want to date girls 69, 69, 69, 69, 69? Now's your chance. Shoot your shot. She's in the chat. Okay, so I really like that intro. I like the vocals. They're a little too far back in the mix. Okay, we got some double vocals that just came in. One of the things that I look out for with double vocals is you have to be very intentional about lining those up when you're mixing. The idea behind double vocals is you want it to complement each other and not have two separate vocals, fighting for your attention. So there's a good bit of string buzz on the guitar, but I kind of like it in this setting. Hey, thanks for the likes, everybody. If y'all want to tap that screen for me, just so this helps get everybody else's music out to more people, I would appreciate it. Look at Michael Ray sneaking in. How about that? Caught you. You're supposed to be on vacation. This is what you do with your vacation? All right, so cool. Like I said, we're going to try to keep it short so I can get to as many as I can. Yeah, man, really cool song. So one of the things you can do with the vocals, just to help them sit back in the mix a little bit, is when you think about volume, don't think about just like the regular, decibel level, but also where it's sitting in the mix. So sometimes, the volume may make perfect sense, but you can push it back into the mix by spreading it a little bit, adding some reverb, adding some delay to it. One of the techniques I like to use is if you add a bit of delay with a ping pong effect from left to right and just push it back a little bit, you can push the vocals back, and then there's just enough of that, it sounds like it's kind of ping ponging off of the walls, which kind of actually brings it back up. So, but overall, cool song. All right, this is Barely Civil with Graves Avenue. Let's give it a listen.
Photograph for the very last time. In the worst pose I'll find myself getting lost on my front lawn, shaking fists at my neighbors. Sometimes I feel left out.
I feel like I know that guitar tone very well.
I'm a train wreck on fire, a digression from the best parts you would like, in possession of a new land.
Okay, so far the song is it's repeating itself, but we're adding layers as we go, so it's a great technique. I really like the vocals. They're very warm, kind of smooth where they should be. Hey, kudos for not bringing those guitars too out front. Okay, so I feel like I'm missing the bass line a little bit. Yeah, cool song. So, yeah, I feel like I'm not getting enough of the bass guitar, but at least we didn't lose the kick. So the kick and snare were still getting through the way that they should. The guitars didn't go overboard when you brought those in, so they just, again, added a layer to the song. The lead that was playing had a little too much reverb for my taste, but it fit well. So really the only critique I have is try to get the bass guitar up a little bit. But Barely Civil with Graves Avenue. Okay, so Dressed as a Maid by W.V.K, which is we really out here. That's what it is. Okay, here we go. like it so far. Start out with the guitars, bring in the drum set. Okay, I like what you did there when you said she said and then you bring in the female vocal. So it says this is recorded and mixed for $0 at my school.
So I stole this guitar and off the stage I ran. But now I'm getting chased by a senior band. I just wanted to play one song.
I don't know if the distortion on the vocals was intentional or just because it was a inexpensive mix/recording, but I like it. All right, really cool guitar solo. I'm guessing y'all recorded that with a mic and an amp. If I'm right, what I'm hearing is that the mic was probably a little too far away from the amp when you recorded it. Bringing it a little bit closer. There's this fun thing called the proximity effect, where you're going to get a different sound depending on where the microphone is in relation to the recording source. So same thing happens with guitar there. So I would have scooted that a little bit closer. So it's just like if I'm talking like this, it's going to capture different EQ than if I'm talking like this back here. Same thing applies to recording guitars through an amp like that. Yeah, hey, obviously you said that in the chat. It was recorded and mixed for $0. Plenty of room for improvement on that, but the song itself was really cool. I don't know if you played with the tempo or not, if you recorded with the tempo or a click track. It kind of got off tempo a couple of times throughout there, but that's easily fixed by just making sure you are learning how to record with the click. And then when you brought in the female vocal, it did get a little lost with the other vocal. So there's a bunch of different techniques on how to get past that. But I really like how, the line was, she said, and then you brought in the female vocal. So that was probably my favorite part of it. Other than that cool guitar lead. So kudos, cool music. Musicians' talent when they are recording, a lot of it has to do with how well you can record, not necessarily play your instrument. So it's just a building block to becoming a better musician. If you are going to be a recording musician, first thing to do is learn how to play with a click. A Shark Movie by Crashes. I don't know why, but that just took me back to like the skating rink on a Friday night. Okay. Sounds really good. Hey, if you want to submit music, anybody that's jumping in, just give me an artist name and a song title. Yeah, if I miss any of your questions, Connor is going to try to help me keep up with them. I do appreciate them. All right, so this song, obviously very well recorded and produced. So it's a genre-specific style when it comes to mixing. There are things that I wouldn't have mixed it this way, but I understand why it is. So you'll hear that, pop genre type things, it's the mix all across is going to be a lot smoother, which is what's happening here. There's less dynamics going on, but it also gives it that clean produced sound. There's a good mix of the kick drum and the bass guitar. So Crashes, is this was this professionally mixed, or did you guys do it yourself? Hey, thank you for the follow, Fuzzy Dysfunction. All right, so you recorded everything yourself at home and sent it off for mixing. I got you. So still, even though you didn't do the mix yourself, getting a good recording is the first step to a good mix. Awesome. Great song. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I really don't have anything to criticize there. Obviously, a mixing engineer that knows more than I do was involved with that. So I don't know, like I said, styles or genres. I would mix that a little bit different. But that's also, professional mix engineers, their job is to make it as clean as possible and produce it that way. So they obviously did a great job. You guys did a great job writing the song and recording it. And you got a finished product that sounds very good. So thank you for sharing that. I'm very interested to hear this because the title is Birds Are Government Spies. Hashtag birds aren't real. Let's give it a go. This is a cool intro. I like it. All right, the drums are a little lifeless. I like the bass line. Hey, Crashes, you're very welcome. Thanks for making music. All I'm here to do is give people a chance to be heard, and if I can help in any way and give some advice on things I've learned throughout the years, I'm happy to do it. Yeah, this is like that classic just punk track. I really like this. I need the drums to stand out a little bit more than they are. Some vocal harmonies right there would have been good on the chorus. Okay, really cool song. Here's my critique. So like I said, the drums felt a little lifeless to me, which in a song like that, where it's supposed to be that punk feel to it, you got to have the drums. You got to be able to feel those. So it felt a little blah when it comes to the drums. And so everything from then on is a little tougher to really get into the vibe of it. And then on the lead guitar part, there was a pretty heavy amount of reverb on there, which is weird because we're not putting that on the drums. So when you are adding reverbs to different instruments on your mix, think about, especially in this genre, think about getting the sound to sound like everything is cohesive and in the same room. So different genres are going to be different, but definitely in this and like pop punk and all that, when you're adding the reverb, you want to make a collective reverb where everything sounds like it's in the same room. So what happened there is, if you had maybe added some reverb to the drums, then when the lead guitar pops in and has a heavy reverb, it doesn't sound like they're being played in two separate rooms. So love the bass line, like the song. A couple of things that maybe you could, take a little nugget of information and try it on your next mix. But thank you for sharing. That was Fuzzy Dysfunction with Birds Are Government Spies. All right, this is Collective with Bittersweet. Let's give it a listen. Gray, I am mad at you. Pulled out my 2 tickets to check them this morning and I didn't win nothing. Yeah, were you the one that I felt like the song was like in 5/4 yesterday? Was that the one? That's okay. Gray, I want to know, you can tell me in secret how much money you made off of that raffle. Of course you do. Can I get a ride on the boat? Can can you pull another ticket to give people a ride? Yeah, so I think it's, if I remember correctly, a little similar from yesterday, and I think the guitars were just too out front. Vocals are getting lost, but yeah, that was a good listen, cool song. Don't be afraid to like when you're doing the fun timing stuff. There's nothing wrong with going in there and editing that and getting everything to line up just perfect. It's you know, some people want to be purists and be like, well, if I can't play it on my amp, I don't want to record it that way. But in reality, you could do things with recordings that you can't do. And what I mean by that is, like, if you're, if you're doing those timings on the guitar and the bass and everything, it's okay to like silence it instead of letting it sort of ring out or hold out too long. But yeah, that was still cool. Thanks for giving me another one to listen to. So, by the way, the list of submissions on that video has gotten to a point of craziness. So I've actually noted 385 of them, and I think that's about half of the ones that have been actually submitted. So still plugging away at listening to everything. Champion 91 by Glem is a listen. Oh, we straight up with the funk. What's up, Elijah? Welcome. Good to see you. Does anybody else feel kind of a video game vibe to this? Like, I could totally hear this playing behind like a Sonic the Hedgehog level. Yes, this guy needs to do some sync licensing. Yep. I am not the guru on sync licensing, but I do agree. This is the type of thing that people are making a lot of money on right now. Yeah, so let's talk about this. So, as a lyrics first musician, that's not my cup of tea, but I can totally respect what you did there. And again, you can talk about gatekeepers and purists of, I like creating music that is, very focused on instruments, live instruments, things like that. But there is so much money right now in sync licensing and taking music like that you can create and people can use in video games and television shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. And that is honestly where the money is right now. So if you don't know anything about sync licensing, which I really don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm not even going to try to pretend that I do, I suggest highly that you go check that out and license that crap now. And not crap. It's not crap. It's good. I just mean license the crap out of it. All right, so this is our buddy here, Jason R Thompson with IN. Let's give it a listen. Okay, I like that we're creating kind of a soundscape here, which I would assume is just kind of build that foundation for the rest of it.
I end relationships before I allow them to begin. Think there's a plan, but I know how it ends. Faith is only a word. I end relationships before I allow them to begin. Faith is only
Alright, so the vocals are a little off time, but it also kind of, you know, so you say labyrinthy.
Nothing can ever stop.
It kind of, like, everything that's happening kind of makes me uncomfortable,
Nothing
which is a whole effect in its
can
own.
stop me. I end relationships before I allow them to begin. I end relationships before I allow them to begin.
Yeah, very interesting. Like I said, like the whole thing kind of gives me an uncomfortable vibe, which is kind of cool. There's a good bit of timing issues there, so I highly recommend when you record with a click track to keep everything cohesive and together. So let's give Elijah Ezell with Stuck. Let's give this a listen.
You see here, kid. You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or
You're
what
welcome.
came before.
Thanks
Take
for
a deep breath
letting me listen.
and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
Stuck in the place, stuck in a mindset I can't escape. Here we are again, breaking me again. I got options, I could stop them, I could sit back and watch them. All my problems won't just fade away or take it day to day. Really, I don't wanna live this way. Mind's locked, but I got loose thoughts like they broke bell on the uphill. Took a few steps back and I confess that I'm a mess. I lack respect for myself and I push the help. I need a way, a slave to pain. I dug the grave, I played the games. I'm too afraid to make the change. I'm not okay, but that's okay, now that's insane. Cause I don't wanna stay, I just wanna change. Find another way, gotta get away. I don't wanna stay, I just wanna change. I don't wanna stay. Stuck in the place, stuck in a mindset I can't escape. Here we are again, breaking me again. I got options, I could stop them, I could sit back and watch them. All my problems won't just fade away or take it day to day. Really, I don't wanna live this way. Ay, stressed out, need to get out, cause the key's gonna head out. Wipe calls when you wet now, just stressed out, gotta get out, self-medicate when you wet now. Get it together, no matter the weather, no matter the pressure. Whatever it takes to get better, I'm taking the measure to battle depression. I'm learning my lesson to beat the oppression. Stuck in the place, stuck in a mindset I can't escape. Here we are again, breaking me again. I got options, I could stop them, I could sit back and watch them. All my problems won't just fade away or take it day to day. Really, I don't wanna live this way. Yeah. I'ma see my way out, cause I'm sick of these self-doubts. It's time I go all out. But while I'm on my way down, I might have a breakdown. I might lose my faith now. No, listen. You don't wanna get this way, still make the change. Don't lose your flame, and life's insane. I can't explain, but God don't change. It stays the same, but day to day, embrace the pain. Stuck in the place, stuck in a mindset I can't escape. Here we are again, breaking me again. I got options, I could stop them, I could sit back and watch them. All my problems won't just fade away or take it day to day. Really, I don't wanna live this way. Here we are again, breaking me again.
Okay, that was fun. I like that a lot. And you know, so this isn't something I have a lot of experience mixing that type of thing or producing that type of genre. What I would want is I want the drums to break up a little bit more than they do. So I noticed like the hi-hat was standing out a little too much. Probably just a little bit too much of the high frequencies there. But like when you start changing up your lyrical pattern, if you could use that hi-hat to just kind of supplement that, it would give my ear a little bit of a break from the similarity, and just change it up, because you changed up your lyrical patterns more than you changed up your drum pattern. And so if you could just use the two to complement each other, it would, that's really all I got to say. I think it would be, is my fire alarm going off? Let me make sure I'm not about to burn down. I guess we're good.
Man, I'm getting sick and tired. Man, I'm getting sick and tired. Man, I'm getting sick and tired of this.
This is Furious with No More Waiting.
I'm getting tired of the way I'm finna come out. When I say my name, you know what I'm talking about. The name's Furious and drums coming out. I took a little break, I'm back on it now. The first I ever recorded, it was a freestyle. Caught it simple but hard, but I'm making it out. If you got a problem, come up straight in the back. If you touch on the fabric, we hearing it out. This talent come naturally, I ain't a fake. If you what did when you can tell them was fake. I got soccer labs, but I'm way up to date. Making my own singles, all others can wait. Rockin' new blues, that's what's really on my case. Man, I got a good friend, her name is her name. And I got saw dogs and I ain't here to play. Going stupid man and ain't none of y'all safe. For my music blow up, just remember my name. Left all my fans that been supportive of me. Man, I'm really trying to maintain self-esteem. While all of my dreams running from me. Talk about a love story, love ain't for me. Take away all the hate from my demeanor. It's all hopes and dreams. I wonder when I'll make it out of here. Life is short, you live it how you feel. I'm hoping to dreams and I'm dreaming of hopes. I got friends, but that's all that I know. Music is a hobby that my dad put me on, and I'm loving it like it's one of my own. Underground artists revealing the stone. No matter what it take, I will be known. I know a lot of people say this, but music is really my home. If you attempt to intro, you become the unknown. It's too many hopes and dreams that I really want. I put my old self back in the dump. The mumble rapping wasn't helping enough. Yeah, I got a bit of knowledge, got a bit up. The past month, my flame has been growing to dust. Got a side job just to get my bank up. Kamikaze, that's the name I look up. Please tell me when all this pain was just in. I've been waiting ever since the very beginning. Will I be known as Furious? I'm just known to hop on any beat and just spit. Coming from my soul from deep within. I like how she look heavenly sent. Hold up, I need to take me a breath real quick. That was way more than 8 bars, but it's still it.
Yeah, if you are 15 years old and you're already doing that, you're going to do really, really well. So let me give you some feedback to work with. Again, this is not my typical genre, but from a musician's perspective, like, you're throwing a lot of lyrics at me. And I know that's kind of part of the idea there. But I feel like it's just so much that if you took some of it out, everything you're saying would have more of an effect on me. It would increase the dynamics of the song, and let it breathe a little bit. So I talk about this a lot in letting a song breathe, because if you overdo it, if it's not adding to what the song needs, and if there's a piece of the song that just doesn't help the song, then you need to take it out. And sometimes you're going to have to take out things that you actually like about it just to let the song breathe. So if it is not, it's like writing a paragraph, right? Like, your first sentence is basically telling you what the paragraph is going to be about. And then every sentence after that has to be supporting that first sentence. So in a song, everything you're saying and everything you're doing should be supporting some sort of statement that you're making. And if you overdo it, that statement is going to get lost. So, but at 15 years old, if that's what you're putting out, dude, I was not putting stuff. I was not doing anything like that at 15. So keep at it. Keep learning everything you possibly can. Some of the lyrics in there, like, you got to experience some life first. At 15, I promise you, you got a long way to go. You got a lot. And we're not talking about just like music right now. You got a lot that you're going to learn. You're going to experience a lot of things. And some of them are going to be great. Some of them are not going to be great. But it almost seems a little disingenuous to be talking about, life and what's wrong with it at 15. Because I promise you, you're going to go through some things, and then your emotions are going to come out when you say those words. It's fine putting those in the song, but when you've gone through them and the emotion comes out in your singing, in your rapping, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to know the difference between the two. So but keep at it. I'm really proud that I wish I was doing that at 15 years old. So congratulations. I will be tuning in to hear more. Yeah, so you said, I know, but the beat is just so fast, I have to go fast. Okay, you're in control of that. If you decide the tempo when you're mixing and producing. So a great example of this is the way that I decide on a tempo of a song that I'm working on has everything to do with getting the lyrics to come out the way that they're supposed to, without dragging them out. And I haven't always been great at this. I've allowed the tempo to be too slow in the past and had to drag out my words. I've allowed it to go too fast and I can't get the words out in time. So from experience, what I've done to change that is I will sing the lyrics multiple times and, create the tempo around how the lyrics are allowed to fit. So tempo is not set first and then the lyrics goes into it. If you're having to speed up your lyrics because of the tempo, just slow down the tempo. And again, what that's going to do is create space. So you always got to have some space going on there. You got to let the song breathe. But again, fantastic work. Really appreciate you letting me listen to that. So I did a review video on Mason Crow's song Misunderstood. And so now we have Bored, which is another one by Mason Crow. And I would be happy to give that a listen, and let's see what we got.
Raised by Mother Nature, my father was Father Time. I was frozen like a glacier, wait, that hardly even rhymed. What am I getting at? I get up and I have nothing to pack up at my home. I'm all alone.
This style you got going for you is really growing on me now.
I'm really dead inside and cannot find a cure. I've heard that being relatable is the purest way to get people to like you. Honestly, this one is only written for you. Not me, not him, not her, not them, you. 'Cause you're my favorite person out there to write to.
Hey, Elijah, thanks for dropping in.
Forever blue skies await me, but I'd rather be dead than have to stay here for any longer.
Yeah, Mason's got a very unique style that I'm really liking.
I made a mistake outside the pearly gates. I'm really dead inside and cannot find a cure. I've heard that being relatable is the purest way to get people to like you. Honestly, this one is only written for you. Not me, not him, not her, not them, you. 'Cause you're my favorite person out there. Yes, you're my favorite person out there, right too. Yes, you're my favorite person out
there. Yeah, that's another one. It's cool. So you've got this style going on, and so I think the last time I was like, I can just imagine you've written all these things down somewhere and you kind of kept them to yourself, and now you're just like, hey, I just feel like letting it all out, and it's so cool, like that style that you're using there. Yeah, I don't know what to really tell you. So I think one of the things that would kind of make it cool is if you had some like choral background vocals, just like some oohs and ahs going on, because like you get there at the end, like the emotion was coming out really, really strong. And it's like, oh snap. Like, I thought this was a fun song to dance to. And now he's like yelling at me sort of. And like, it's obviously pointed at somebody to listen to. Right. So you could literally just kind of break that up and give it some oohs and ahs in the background, and it would just like kind of bridge the gap between this fun dance song and the severity of the lyrics. Actually, I only have a few songs in this style. I'm experimenting with several genres. Do you, man? I like to say that I'm like a pop punk guy, but in all honesty, I don't think the majority of the songs I've recorded are even pop punk genre. So I don't think experimenting with your genre will ever stop. The only people that don't experiment with their genre anymore are the ones that are signed to a label and are told what to play. My opinion. So good for you. Keep playing around and see what you come up with. One of the things I've learned through this process is if you're submitting your music, like it's really great if you can attach something to it, even if it's just one sentence to kind of catch the attention of the person looking. Because again, I still don't even have the list of everybody that's commented so far, and I've got 385 names. So, you know, this was kind of caught my eyes. Like, hey, my name's Devin too. You should check it out. You know, a couple of others that have caught my eye have been like, oh, hey, I saw on your profile that you like pop punk. You might like listening to us. So those are the things that can help you if you're submitting music to be listened to, which I would have probably never really thought about until just now. But anyway, so this guy's name is Devin Black, and he's got a song called False Confidence, and I listened to this earlier, and I thought it was pretty cool. So let me share it with you, and I'll let you know what I thought about it.
No, but like for real, like what is that?
This kind of fits into everything we're listening to right now anyways.
You know what I mean? Just like...
No, I agree with you. You don't need to convince me. I agree with you. Alright, I'm gonna get more drinks. What do you want?
Give me one, like...
Another beer? Alright, I got you. Hey, Betty, 12 o'clock. Look right ahead. Hey.
She looking at me like it's ooh la la. We locking eyes and I'm falling like a Mufasa. I said I'd never
If this don't
fall in
take
love
you back to like the early
because
2000s, I don't know what will.
How about you, mama? She asked for shots. We hit it off like right there on the spot. I made her laugh her ass off and she asked me if it's hot or if it's just her. I told her, baby,
What's
I
up,
can feel
Camp?
the birds. So we took an Uber
Campadigo?
back into the burbs. And she squirmed when I fucked her on the
Chinaberry, I got you
Sing
queued
a
up.
piece of furniture. I laid back and enjoyed the view like her. She got that curvature, a body that can kill. I tell you what, that girl to murder her. So I put her in cuffs and locked her up so I can service her. Beers and blunts, the aftermath. Got blurry vision, cataract. She tells me I should have it snapping that she's gotta leave. I know that she's never gonna hit me back, but I'm more than okay with that. I'm really fucked up, gotta feed my cat, then I'm gonna sleep. Yeah, all this
I gotta feed my cat, then go to sleep. Like,
when in reality, I still ain't
God, I
moved.
love
I'm
lyrics
basically
like that.
dead. And to be honest, that go call me off my guard. And instead of making moves and introducing, got cold feet and I fled. Man, it's pathetic, but honestly, it's justice and poetic that a guy who talks his game up couldn't get it. It ain't just a pandemic, but I've been isolated, feeling static. So I'm trying to make some moves and be kinetic. Yeah, break me out of the loop.
do y'all hear the what I was talking about just a little while ago about like creating that space and letting the song breathe? Because this is a really good example of how that's being done. Yeah, see, Connor gets it. And he's kind of sitting on the backbeat of the kick, too. It's very similar, just done a different way.
That's okay, I'll daydream of another when she walks into that entryway.
Like, yeah, I thought that was cool when I heard that. So I figured I'd share it. But that is a perfect example of what I was just talking about a couple songs ago. All right, so Chinaberry with Absent. Let's go.
I've been searching for the right word to use. Show me your circled concepts, time slips right through time slips right through time slips right through
me stop just a second because a couple of things, and then I'll keep playing it. The intro had me feeling like this was going to be a little bit busier than it is up until this point. So if like that guitar was a little bit busier than what the vocals and the song seems to be up until this point, and then when we're picking it up right here, now it kind of makes sense. But I think you could have been a little less busy on the guitar in the beginning and then let that come in when it picks up right here. Try to get the vocal more out front than it is. We got a lot of stuff going on. You gotta be really careful about overdoing it. See, and it may just be as simple as bringing the vocal up a little bit because that just seems so busy in the background. Will we ever know why? Okay, cool song. Yeah, the biggest critique I can give is there's too much going on, and my brain is not being able to focus on much of any of it. Yeah, the lyrics needed to be out front a little bit more so I could grasp onto that and focus. But there seemed to be a whole lot going on. So just be really careful. And, back to what I was saying earlier is if it is not there to support the rest of the song, you need to take it out. Because as much fun as it can be to add a bunch of different stuff, and in the exact right listening situation, all of those things could come through exactly the way that they're supposed to. But I promise you that when you're the one recording and mixing and you hear every little thing the way that you, or the way that you hear every little thing is not the way everybody else is going to hear it. So unfortunately you do have to simplify a lot of the times, again, just letting it breathe. So kind of what I was saying was the big thing was it was like really busy and it didn't really match the lyrics in the feel of the song. But yeah, I do like the song nonetheless. So thank you very much for showing that or sharing that with me. So here's the dude Adam Ambrose, I'm not sure, but he submitted this song "Guilty When I Cry," and I really like this, so check it out.
My clients crush the autumn leaves, cold pavement on Park Street, kids busking just to make some money. But $5 isn't much to me. Your face lights up, go follow your dreams. I'll sit in the stands and only envy. I blame it on my season.
This guy's vocals makes me jealous. Very, he's figured out his sound.
It's not fair, I don't feel fine, but so many others go through fire.
Like, it's very well produced. The guitar sits just perfectly there to not get in the way of the vocals. If you can hear, he's got a doubled vocal in the back, just it's a little bit of a higher, he's using a higher range, and it's just sprinkling onto the main vocal. Because, you know, much like me, I've got I wouldn't say I have a low voice, but I typically record in my lower register. And so what I do is I can supplement that by just adding a little bit of backup vocal to make up for it. And it doesn't have to be in your face.
I have no right to feel this way. This idea runs in my head all day. Poor hamster's probably tired.
So yeah, like he's those vocals are produced so well. I wish I knew the secret. So this is a band called Sleepless with a song called My Serenade, and I really enjoyed listening to this earlier as well. We got to get into a little bit more of the pop punk for a second if you're good with that. If not, I don't know what to tell you. Connor says always, you're my dude. So perfect example of something about pop punk in the early 2000s was you had the bassist was such a big part of the music and often driving the song. So that's really what's happening here is the bass is carrying it, and then the guitars are just like, I'm here too to supplement it. And that's what I love. Like, y'all tell me this isn't awesome. I won't believe you. Got the gang, doing the backgrounds with the whoa-ohs, filling it in. So this is another great example of the rhythm guitar that is just kind of doing some palm muting here. It is very easy to overmix that. This is a problem I had for a while, where I want you to hear it so badly that I would put it too far out front. And you dial that back and everything else just has the chance to come out, and they've done that. Hey, Mr. Mistakes 29, thanks for the likes. I appreciate that. Welcome to the party. I think we just jumped into the pop punk version, or the pop punk section of the live. Like, the drums are so well mixed here as well. They're very clean. They probably triggered it a good bit, but it doesn't take away from the life of the song either. Yeah, so that was Sleepless. One of those that I found while doing this. And this is my favorite part about doing this is, like, we talk about this all the time. There's so many good musicians out there making really, really good music, and just not getting their chance to be heard. And so, worst case scenario, if I'm spending a lot of my time just trying to give everybody a platform to be listened to and, get some feedback on their music, like, yeah, it is. I'm not doing it in a selfish way. I don't want anything out of this other than helping other independent musicians like myself. What I am getting out of this is I'm getting to hear a lot of really good music. That is going to be going on some playlists. So yeah, I haven't even listened to half of these yet, and I'm already I'm finding these little gems, like dropping in my comments, like, you should listen to Blood Orange by the Wldlfe, and I'm like, oh dang, that was just like, okay, cool, just drop into my comments and bounce out. Person who is making it happen. I'll play it nonetheless. This is the Wldlfe with Blood Orange.
it's bad for my health. I'm scared, I'm afraid to admit it. My friends say Jensen, just forget it. But I feel like a shell of a human, of a human. Put on a brave face for ya, pretend that it's alright. Repaint my mind but orange, so I can sleep through the night. Forgive my over-analytical mind.
That little palm mute is just like, it's like Salt Bay, just like boop boop,
It'll come
boop boop.
in time. I feel my head
I don't know. I like it. All right, Connor, let's listen to your old band. I don't think I've done this yet, so let's check it out. What are you playing in this, by the way? Bass. Nice. Yeah, that last song was the Wldlfe, and they're a pretty big band. And the bassist, I guess, posted it from his account, and so I didn't catch it quite away because I just figured it was somebody like, oh, you should listen to the Wldlfe, and I was like, well, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. Like, people have said Tool, of course. They've said things like, yeah, you should listen to my band Weezer, and it's like, your band is not Weezer. And so this was one of those that just kind of skipped over it, and then I was like, wait a second. Like, looked up his name, and I was like, oh, that's just their bassist with 152 followers deciding to, like, you know, must have just got on TikTok and saw it. Bassist never gets the fan base. I feel you. That was me back in the day. So I don't know if I like the tremolo effect on the guitar. I feel like if that had been cleaner, it would have hit a little bit better. Like, there's nothing else in the song that says that you need to use a tremolo effect on this. I'm not gonna lie though, I hear like influences of like Copeland in the vocals. No, I'm definitely hearing Copeland influence in the vocals. Man, the bassist in that song was just absolutely fantastic. All right. Guitar Heaven. Let's go with it. Unknown 666008. What are you up to? Let's chat.
When I was a young boy, had dreams to be a star. I knew that Hawaiian steel guitar wouldn't take me far. I worked my fingers to the bone and saved the money I made, so I could buy that guitar to help pay my way. Now I'm sitting here with my Martin, playing my life away. Wake up in the morning to play another day, knowing that when I die
So there's a very small mistiming between the guitar and the drum set. Like I love the way everything sounds, but it's kind of sticking out a little bit. But there is that little bit of delay.
When I finally found the sound I wanted to convey, I joined a band that wanted to give every day. Now I'm sitting here with my Martin, playing my life away. Wake up in the morning,
I want a Martin.
play another day, knowing that when I die, I won't have to cry, because I'm going to that guitar heaven in the sky. We made a lot of new fans.
Yeah, so there's another example of making sure that all of your vocals line up the right way.
But enjoyed the music jam.
Because they're just slightly off, so it's kind of creating this separation where there's two vocals rather than just like a cohesive vocal and backup. Gotta be real careful about those timings. Because you can also create phase issues, which is one of those topics that I've been diving into a lot more intently lately.
Knowing that when I die, I won't have to cry, because I'm going to that guitar heaven in the sky. In the sky.
All right. Awesome song. So everybody say hey to John, who's here hanging out with us. That was Guitar Heaven. Really biggest critique I can give is making sure that the timings are lining up. That's really it. The vocals could use a little bit of tuning, but overall, like, the feel of the song is really cool. I like the song itself. The lyrics were coming through. You know, I was able to listen. Not really a production issue of any sort. Just be very careful about making sure that things line up timing wise. You know, the thing about recording is timing is supposed to be perfect. Unfortunately, that's created an expectation of musicians that when they go play live and things are not exactly perfect like they are on the recording, people are like, oh, this sucks. But like in real life, we know that you're not going to get perfect timing all the time, but in a recording, you're kind of expected to. So the Aspect project with 100, I will happily play this. Thanks for hopping into the live and suggesting it. Let's give it a go. I love the way it started. Okay. All right, so I like the bass line, but it's a little too far up. I'm hearing a good bit of attack on the bass line, or the bass guitar, that could be just calmed down a little bit. I love the vocals. I mean, all of the instruments sound like they're working together, which is really nice. I would like to hear some vocal harmonies bringing the vocal up right now. You know, I hear the second vocal, but I mean, like 4 or 6 right here just to get it up in your face would be amazing. Devin, I'm Devin too. No, you're Devin. There can only be one of us. Okay, so we just throw a saxophone in there, like out of nowhere. Awesome. I'm glad I stuck around. I would have never expected to hear that. That's cool. Yeah, see, what's happened here is when I do this live, like yesterday when I did this, people are like, okay, like if I'm going to do a review, I can listen to it a couple of times and write down a couple of notes. But like doing this live and reacting live is so much harder because I'll listen to these intros and I have no idea where it's going to go next. Like it could be 100 different genres that it's going to go into. I never know. So would have never expected to hear that like I did, and that was really cool. Yeah, you keep laughing, Devin. But I'm serious. There can only be one of us, and it is me. I hate to spoil it. Yeah, I hope those comments help you a little bit. You can check out. All right, so you're doing pretty well. 3,255 monthly listeners. And see, I was a little worried when I pulled up this song and saw that it has almost 85,000 plays. I was like, oh, it's going to be hard for me to critique anything. So I'm glad I was able to at least give you something based on what I hear. But here is Stay by Otousvn. Oh, it's this cover. Okay. I've got a good buddy that did a cover of this too. Heck yeah. Hey, Jaded Basket Case, thanks for the shout out. I just am appreciative that I get the chance to do this. Devin said, don't play mine after this one. That's hilarious. Okay, I'm going to leave y'all wanting a little bit more of that. But thank you so much for sharing that. That is a really cool cover of a song that I figured I never wanted to hear again. Like, this is the problem with TikTok, is when those songs go viral, like, I'm so sick of hearing it. So if you're going to do a cover of it, you've got to jump on it quick. So you probably did a great job of that. But considering I'm so sick of hearing the song, I did enjoy listening to that. Awesome take on it. And really well produced, very clean. I think you did a great job. Are you famous? Is that what's happening? Because if not, can we be friends before you are? Just saying. All right, so up next is Burn and Braille with Becoming Evil. Because there can only be one of us. Yeah, our buddy J-Rod and Austin did a cover of that as well. So you never know what you're going to hear hanging out in one of my lives, listening to people's music. Now everybody's going to go add stuff to their playlist. Okay, so there's a backup vocal there that I see. It's so hard. Like I can't show you what I'm hearing in my brain, obviously. But there was a backup vocal there that I wish had been a little bit more out front. And maybe you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's one of the higher registered backup vocals right there. Like I almost wish that was not as loud as the main vocal, but like really close to it. Oh, thanks. I appreciate you hanging out with us and letting us listen to your music. Definitely hang out with me next time. We're going to be doing this more often. All right, so Burning Braille with Becoming Evil, which is the other Devin that is here in the chat. I guess I'll let that slide if we just say the other Devin. I'm not sure how to say your band name, and I don't want to get in trouble, so I'm not going to say it the way that I think it should be said, but here's Sadboi. Hey, thanks, Devin, for coming by. Hopefully you'll hang out with me again. We're ending on a certain type of music, I think. I don't know what happened. Did like everybody in this genre of music just wake up at like 3:30 this afternoon? Or is it because I was playing that style of music? I don't know how TikTok works. Alright, so I would not mind having the vocals come up front a little bit more than they are. I know you got to be careful with that, with the way that they're distorted. Apparently it's pronounced the way that we think it's pronounced, because they won't answer the question. This is a very interesting song. I feel like you just started a brand new one. Like, one thing that's sticking out to me is that the main vocal is underneath the instruments. So I feel like the bass guitar is really like taking the space in a lot of things right now. It could just be the headphones that I've got right now though. But I definitely would like to see those vocals brought forward. Like that section we just listened to, though, like if you had to have taken that and just put it like, I wouldn't go hard left or right, but like way to one side, and then took the reverb on just that vocal and put it on the exact opposite side, it would have really been a really cool part of that section. So just something to think about for next time. I did that on my last song that I recorded, We Just Sync, where one of my vocals was recorded like 15 feet away from the mic, and I was using one of my vocal doubles as like I was just belting it out, which took a lot of work to get the timing right, get it lined up with the other vocals, and make sure that there were no issues with the reverb tail. But what I did with that is I took it and I put it, I think I ended up on the right side panned about, 30%. And then the reverb just for that one vocal was panned to the opposite side with, and so what happens is when you hear it, it's like you hear the vocal come through your right speaker and then you hear the reverb come through your left speaker. So that's a technique that I tried out really for the first time, and I will be doing that again. So I think you could have used something like that on the vocals for that last section. But anyways, it is now 4:00. So that is my 2-hour cap that I'm limiting myself to. I just want to I appreciate everybody that hung out with me, and just take a minute to thank you for being a part of something that's bigger than all of us. My goal in all of this is to give independent musicians like myself a chance to be heard and get if I can give some advice for somebody to get better at their craft, maybe they don't have to go through the learning process that I did on some of these things that I learned along the way. But anyways, so, help me push this out into the world in whatever way you can. Like and comment and share, those videos, especially the reviews. So what I'm noticing is that when I actually do a video review, very few people are actually paying attention to it unless it's like their own. So like if you posted a comment saying, hey, I want a review on my music, and then I do a review on it, most people are not going to really listen to the review. They're only going to tune into the ones where I review them, which is one of those things I didn't really expect to be an issue, but we got to find a way to make that not be the case. So if you like anything that you've heard, just make sure to go follow those musicians, give them a shout out, say, hey, I heard you on Devin Song Reviews, or whatever the case, and just give them some affirmation to keep making music.